you guys? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jazzy. I just got the new pumpkin, or it's not new, I guess. It's really not new. Okay, so I honestly don't like pumpkin that much, to be honest, but every single year I tell myself, you like pumpkin, we need to try it. Usually if I didn't have YouTube, I would still think I've never tried pumpkin, because every year I try it and every year I say I've never tried this before. But I remember telling you guys this last year, so now I know I've tried pumpkin before and I didn't like it. So I'm kind of not looking forward to this coffee, if I'm being honest, but I had to get it because how do I not at this point? Like, you have to try all the coffees. So I got the caramel, or not caramel, let's see, I'm wishing it was caramel. I got the pumpkin cold brew coffee with pumpkin, whatever the stuff is on top, pumpkin cold foam, and I ordered it with cream and Splenda, but there was some new kid on today. There's like a lot of new kids, honestly, there, and I don't know if he definitely didn't do enough cream, but I think it'll be okay. So let's just try it. We'll see what we think. The cold brew looks good. It's actually so good. I literally am talking down about it, and it's actually phenomenal. Oh, the smell. I just got a whiff of the fall. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's enough for me to order this, actually. Because this literally smells like fall. And it has looked like fall for the past month here. I seriously think something, like, I'm not trying to be this person, but there clearly is something going on in the atmosphere, global warming or something, because the fact that all of these trees, like, are already turning, it usually doesn't happen here this early, because I'm in the south. Like, usually here it's later. You guys remember last year it was Vlogmas and the leaves were turning, but the leaves have been turning since like the middle of July at this point. It's crazy, but you know I'm loving it. You know I'm here for the leaves turning. I just think it's crazy because everywhere I look, the leaves have changed color or they've fallen off. It's actually insane. But the real reason I'm here to report for business today is because I am going to tell you guys everything that happened with the neighbor downstairs in the end, because I feel I can, honestly, with all the conversation that I've had with the neighbors, with the landlord at this point, or the owner that lives down there. There's been so much. You guys are going to be shocked by the amount of tea I'm spilling right now, because we didn't know what was going on. So for the past 2 months that she was living there, there was cops that kept showing up, like a sheriff kept showing up. He showed up maybe 2, maybe 3 times. And Dominic and I were just kind of like, what is going on? Me and my friend that lives across the way were kind of wondering what was going on, because we were seeing this sheriff show up and put papers on her door. Okay, this is what frustrates me about cold foam. It's gone already, and you pay a lot more for the cold foam, so that's a little frustrating. Oh, also I got a medium because they're doing the deal where you get it's $3 for the medium. But anyway, I'm telling you guys, and I've gathered you all here today to share with you guys the story of the neighbor. So, or like the finale, basically, of what happened to the neighbor, because I feel like she's never going to find my YouTube channel at this point. She's never coming back. There's no chance she's coming back. Maybe like slightly. I'm still afraid, to be honest. I said there's no chance, but I actually am afraid she'll come back, and she will. I want to clean that, but I don't have a shirt to. This is what happens when you wear a crop top. You can't clean things. Let's see. I'm honestly still afraid that she's going to come back at some point. Like, I still have that fear, and I definitely have PTSD because every time, like, a black car drives into our complex, I think it's her, and I'm terrified. And I don't even know why, because it's not like her and I ever had any interactions. Literally, the whole 8 months she lived there, I don't know how many times I've reiterated this to you guys, I've talked to her 0 times, other than the time that I said hi to her at the front door because she opened her door, and she shut the door in my face, said nothing back to me. It's so crazy. So, I mean, I know I mentioned that I think she had like anxiety or something. I've established that I don't even know what she had, to be honest, because there's so many layers to the story where the mom told us she did the whole thing about her being, like, she literally did this with her hands. And I don't remember what she said. I think she said she's not all there, is what she said, I think. And then, like, the baby daddy also kind of insinuated that there's something off there. And so obviously there is something off there, but I don't think that's just anxiety, to be honest. There was more to it, is what I'm finding out now after the fact. So the landlord came or like the owner came to paint, and she gave me all the dirty deeds, honestly. And she's very nice. I will say she knows more than she's acting like she knows, because we obviously complained to our landlord about the lady downstairs multiple times, and the owner did nothing about it. And she kind of just like acted like it wasn't her responsibility when it was. But she was also dealing with some things behind the scenes that we didn't know about with the lady downstairs. And apparently, I think they all thought we did, and we had no idea. So what I've heard was that she was evicted, which makes everything make so much more sense, to be honest. I was like curious, like how she was evicted, like if she was evicted for having the dogs or for what reason she was evicted. And my mom was like, there's no way. Everyone was telling me there's no way. They wouldn't evict her for that. Like, she must not have been paying rent. And I'm just sitting here like, you guys, I just can't imagine. Like, how do you not pay rent? And then on top of it, not even just how do you not pay rent, like I just would be more embarrassed not paying rent and thinking everybody knew I wasn't paying rent. So that's my theory, is that she wasn't paying rent and she thought everybody knew, so she was just awkward and uncomfortable because you're embarrassed almost, but maybe not. She didn't seem like the type to be that embarrassed either, though. I don't know, you guys, but I gotta really lay the details out to you guys. So pretty much for the past couple of months, the sheriff had been showing up. He showed up twice, and HOA showed up first, and then the sheriff showed up 2 times after. And I don't know why, but I just thought maybe she was in trouble for something. I don't know, because she's crazy. And honestly, she does have a criminal record, which I think I might have mentioned to you guys already. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm dropping some news right now. But just from a quick Google search, I found out she had a criminal record. So, like, in my head, I was just like, okay, she's just a bad bitch. And the cops are just coming to, I don't even know, summon her for court for whatever she's done in the past. But my neighbor that I'm friends with was like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she might be being evicted. So we've had kind of a theory going on that she might be being evicted. But then obviously she moves out, and it's like all on a whim. Like, I had no idea she was moving out. This is where it gets kind of, I don't know how juicy it really is, to be honest. But for me, I feel like it's like the finale of all finales, to be honest. The fact that she even was evicted, let alone she wasn't paying her rent for 4 months, you guys. 4 months she wasn't paying her rent. So my next door neighbor friend, she's not really friends with the owner downstairs, but she went over and chatted with her when she saw that she was in town, and she said that the neighbor downstairs said that the lady wasn't paying her rent for 4 months. Now that blows my freaking mind, because if you guys remember, like if you go back in the playlist of the neighborhood drama, 4 months, that means that everything that went on with her and I, like, not her and I, but everything that went on where she's leaving trash at her door, where she's, the baby daddy situation, where the baby daddy came and yelled at Dominic, came pounding on our door. She hadn't paid rent in 2 months at that time when that happened. Like, she wasn't paying rent, and he came pounding on our door and had that, like, it puts a whole different perspective on the whole interaction, honestly, for me, that she was squatting down there, not paying rent. That blows my mind. I just can't believe it. So, anyway, what I really can't believe is that they let that go on that long. Like, I don't understand a landlord that lets that go on that long, if I'm being honest, because if you're the owner, you're going to want your money. I would have had to handle that situation way before 4 months go by and I haven't paid rent. I don't know how much I believe it, to be honest. 4 months is crazy. But anyway, so apparently she hadn't paid rent in 4 months, And so they obviously evicted her, and they've been trying to evict her for a while, is what the landlord ended up saying this morning when I met up with her. So I came downstairs this morning, and she was like, hey, like, I'm the owner, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, hey, like, I kind of was apprehensive to meet her, if I'm being honest, because I am frustrated with her, because everything, like, all of our attempts to, like, tell her that there was something wrong with this lady downstairs, and that, like, this lady was basically harassing us, and all of our attempts were, like, on deaf ears. That's not a nice thing to say, honestly. Do people say deaf ears? That seems messed up. I don't think that's what it is. Is it deaf ears? No, that doesn't sound right, but that would be messed up if it's deaf ears. I feel like that's not a good terminology to use. Like, falling on deaf ears? I don't like that. So, I'm not saying that. So, anyway, everything we were saying to her, I hope I didn't just make that up. That would be horrible. But everything we were saying to her, she was not listening to, basically. So I was a little frustrated with her, because even with the last neighbors, we had all those issues with the last neighbors where they were obviously smoking weed every single day, all day, and it was insane. And, like, I had those huge migraines from it, and she wasn't, like, obviously doing anything about it, like, at all. She was making our landlord do stuff about it. So I kind of had issues with her, and I honestly didn't want to meet her, because I know how I am, and I'm a nice person. And so I knew that, like, I obviously wouldn't, like, say anything about any of those issues that I had. But then I met her, and I was also worried I'd like her, because she seemed like a nice lady. And I do. I think she's a really nice lady. I think she's just a lady that wants to collect the money from the property that she owns. And she, like, doesn't want to do the responsibility of owning the property, basically. But anyway, I go down there. She introduced herself. I say, hey. And she said, the neighbor, and let me know all of the hell you've been put through, basically. And I said to myself, you already know all the hell we've been put through. You acted like we were crazy when we weren't. Because if you guys remember, she wrote that note. I'll put the note or she didn't write the note, but I'll put the note on the side. If you remember, the downstairs neighbor wrote a note saying that the landlord warned her about us. And I have an issue with that, because that was, like, the second week that she lived there. And, like, I just can't imagine her just making that up. But at the same time, I also can't imagine someone not paying rent for 4 months. So she could have made that up, and maybe she made it up in an attempt for us not to reach out to her landlord, thinking that the landlord was talking shit on us, you know? But anyway, she said, Jay was telling me, who's my friend, my next door neighbor, she was telling me that you were all the how you've been through. And I said, that lady was a nightmare. I said, it was a disaster. Honestly, she was harassing us. She was circling our cars, looking in my window of my car every single time. Like, if I would park next to her vehicle, she would look right in my window of my car. She was leaving notes. You guys already know all the shit that we went through with her. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. She wasn't paying rent. And then she didn't tell me. She didn't tell me that it had been 4 months. I just heard that from Jay. But I guess she just told me that she hadn't been paying rent. And then I said, you know, she had a dog too. And she had 3 dogs that were staying with her when her parents were staying. And she was shocked. She had no idea that this lady even had a dog, which we never complained about the dog, so I can see why. Like, if nobody complains, you probably wouldn't know if you don't live around here, but I can't believe no one complained about the 3 dogs. But anyway, she was shocked about that. She tells me she took the neighbor to court, the downstairs neighbor, so she owes me all that back rent, and she has on her record for the next 10 years that she was evicted from a place for not paying rent for months. And so that's kind of crazy. I mean, it's all just, it's not really surprising to me at this point. Like, I feel like I should be more like, oh, you guys, can you believe this? But at this point, am I really surprised? Like, nothing surprises me. It wouldn't surprise me if she killed a person, to be honest. When they said that it was smelly downstairs, I was over here thinking there was a dead body possibly downstairs. Which, speaking of, you guys, I found out what that smell was. So the owner is like, she says, do you know that when they left, they turned all my water off, which you're supposed to do. She goes, they turned all my water off, and she took a massive shit in the toilet and left it there. And so when I came, it smelled disgusting. And I opened the toilet to this disgusting shit. Like, that's low. Like, I know you can go pretty low. Oh, and she didn't leave any of her keys. She just left with she took all of her keys, didn't lock the apartment, and just left. So I don't know where she went, but I pray that she stays the hell out of this area. And I can't imagine her ever coming back to the area. And then that's the other thing the landlord said. She said, I didn't even know she was pregnant until, I didn't know she was pregnant before she moved in. And I wanted to say to her, you saw that note, right? That she wrote, because we told our landlord about the note and he told us he sent it to you. I'm really inclined to believe that he did. I mean, unless he didn't want to cause more drama or something and he didn't send it to her. But I can't imagine that he didn't send her the picture of the note that said she was pregnant. And so I feel like that's probably how she found out she was pregnant. But she was like, I don't think I wouldn't have rented to her if I knew she was pregnant, because that's 2 kids and a baby in this tiny little apartment. And I said, yeah, and you don't even know what she was doing to those kids. Honestly, I don't even know what she was doing to those kids, if I'm being honest. Because what shocks me is the last week that she lived in that apartment, those kids were so loud and like kids. Like, I didn't care. Like, I was happy they were kids. You know, like, I heard them screaming, playing. They were having a good time. Like, she wasn't beating them, obviously. They were having a good time and, like, enjoying themselves, because their grandparents, her parents, were there. And they were just laughing, having the best time, screaming. I mean, that was kind of annoying, obviously. But that is the most I heard out of those kids the whole 8 months that she lived there. The other time, like, the rest of the time, I didn't hear a peep out of those kids. After that first time when she beat the kid and Dominic went down and had the conversation with her about, conversation, I say, where he talked through the door and said, like, we can hear you. I just wanted to let you know we can hear everything upstairs. We haven't heard the kids at all. Like, I'm talking not even, like, anything from the kids the whole time she lived there. And the walls are thin, so I just don't understand. We also haven't heard from her either. And I was telling the landlord, you know what I mean. We didn't hear her speaking either from downstairs. Like, it was complete silence. So I don't know if I don't know, honestly. It scares me, the fact that we never heard anything out of the kids when they were down there. It makes me worried for them. That's all. You know what I mean? Because there's people that, you hear horror stories of people, like, chaining their kids up and stuff when they're at home. And, like, God, I would feel so bad if they were downstairs, like, being, like, chained into a room or something. Because we literally didn't hear them, you guys. It just doesn't make sense. But I'm trying not to think about that. Because at this point, there's nothing I can do about it. But I just think it's so weird to me that they were living down there for so long and I never heard them say things or anything like that. And then all of a sudden I am hearing them say things. But the other thing I wanted to tell you was when they moved out, they had the moving truck, obviously. Hey guys, so I'm sorry about that. My phone overheated, so I put some makeup on and I did things outside of using my phone. And I said, I guess I'm gonna eat my lunch right now. But I wanted to tell you guys, when she moved out, she had the moving truck pushed up to our apartment. And every time that Dominic and I, honestly, but I didn't go out as much as Dominic, every time Dominic walked by the dad would glare at Dominic. Like, literally, I wish I could show you guys the footage. I feel like I can, don't you? Let me know in the comments if you feel like I could show you guys the footage at this point, because they don't live here anymore, and I don't feel like, I mean, they did a lot of shit, so I feel like I could probably. I'm just scared I don't want to get sued, you know? But anyway, every time Dominic would go outside, the dad's eyes, like, let's say Dominic's going like this, the dad would literally do this. And then he would, like, even, like, pull his face around the U-Haul truck and watch Dominic, like, glare at him. So, like, I don't know if they thought it's Dominic's fault that she's getting kicked out, or, like, our fault that she's getting kicked out, but this is hella embarrassing for them, because we didn't do anything wrong, honestly. The whole time she lived there, all we did was tell her that she, first of all, is being very loud, beating her children, and second of all, put like going around our cars and stuff. Dominic obviously did it in a not nice manner because she kept looking in our cars. Like, she was honestly crazy. It was just crazy, you guys. I just can't believe she's gone. I'm so freaking happy. We're both so happy, honestly. But I feel like that's the last update. I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything else to say. We can only hope the next people will be nice neighbors. And it seems like whoever comes next is going to probably have a doorbell camera, which does annoy me a little bit because you guys know how much I don't like having the doorbell camera. But at the same time, or like how much I don't like being watched, or it's not even being watched. I don't care if people have a camera. I just don't like being listened to. Like, I don't need people to know stuff about my life when I walk up to the door. Which some of you are asking how they hear us having conversation. And I don't know if we're weird or something, but like, we have deep conversation like all the time. So like, if we're walking from the car to the door, like, we're in deep convo. So like, we talk about, you know, just deep things. I don't know. It's just stuff you don't really want someone eavesdropping on, especially not someone that hates you and that has been harassing you. So I feel like if the next person gets a camera, like, it won't be that big of a deal as long as they're like nice, normal human beings. Because I wouldn't feel weird about like my friend Jay having one, or like anybody else in the neighborhood. I'd be fine with them having a camera because they are normal and they're not gonna like use what they hear about me against me. But she was crazy, and like, they're not looking in my car, like, she was just crazy. That's all. You guys already know, you know. But let me just say, I 10 out of 10 recommend this. I actually am regretting not getting this a long time ago, because the smell, it's like literally fall in a cup. It smells so good. The other thing I just think is hilarious is that the lady downstairs was door dashing. Like, I'm talking at least 3 meals a day. She gave us a $20 Dunkin' gift card. Like, she had money. And she had the high-end doorbell camera. Like, we bought ours for like $29.99 on Amazon. Her doorbell camera is like $180 doorbell camera. It's the newest Nest Google camera, whatever it is. And like, she's out here not paying her rent. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't know how someone could not pay their rent, but it explains how she had all this money floating around. And I told the landlord that. I was like, yeah, she wasn't paying you, but I'm telling you right now, she wasn't poor. She didn't have wasn't going without, that's for sure. Because that lady every day was door dashing food. Dominic and I were looking at each other like, how did somebody DoorDash that much? Because it's expensive. Like, DoorDash itself is expensive, but then you have to tip the person, and then on top of it, you're buying food for yourself and for your 2 kids every single time. Because I don't think they went unfed either. Like, everything she was DoorDashing was like a lot of food. But I don't know, you guys. That's all she wrote. I'm just hoping we won't hear anything else from her. And that what I'm really excited for is that I will be able to talk about it on TikTok. Because I've actually been dying to talk about it on TikTok. Because I feel like that is a TikTok that will go viral. Because of how crazy the situation was. So, yeah, I'm excited to be able to actually talk about it on there. Because I've been nervous, especially to talk about it on TikTok, because TikTok be blowing up. Like, when you post on TikTok, you don't know what you're asking for. So I worried, like, if it blows up and they see it, like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't even know if they'd recognize me if they saw it, because that's how well, she'd recognize me because I was on camera. I was gonna say, that's how little I interacted with her. I still can't believe we never talked to her the whole time she lived there in person, other than, like, who writes a note the first week they're living at an apartment to their neighbor who lives right upstairs above them? Who writes a note saying, don't talk to me or my kids again, and don't come near my car ever again, to somebody who's never gone near their car and never even talked to, like, she said, don't go near, you guys saw the note. Like, who does that the first week that they move in somewhere and thinks they're gonna have like a civil relationship, or like even be able to live without? Like, I can't imagine that was healthy for her either, to live downstairs in that type of environment, knowing that how horrible she was. And also, like, 2 days in to tell us we're heavy as you know what. Like, who says that to people? I don't even understand. And I said that, I told the landlord that, I told the owner, and she didn't look surprised. So, like, that's the thing. Like, she knew that the lady said that. I mean, obviously, you have to believe, you can't believe everything people say. And, like, we could have been lying about that. But ask around then. Ask the neighbors. Like, she knew Jay. She knew my friend that lives in the neighborhood. Call her up and say, like, hey, do you know Jazzy? Like, how is she as a person? Because Jay would have told her, obviously, like, no, like, she's a decent person. Like, she would never make something like that up. Like, why would I? That's embarrassing. It's not embarrassing that someone called us heavy as fuck, but, like, that's in my mind now. Forever. Like that, you know, like, when people, this is why I hate when people are bullies. Like, everybody that makes fun of other people for, like, their weight or any sort of physical thing, or even like a speech impediment, like, you guys know, obviously I have a lisp, and, like, I was made fun of for it on TikTok, and I forgot I had a lisp. I'm not gonna lie, I obviously do. I hear it in the S now. But, like, I completely forgot I even had one, and I edit videos all the time, and, like, of myself, and I never used to hear it, and now I hear it all the time because it's in my head. Like, when someone says something, you can't delete that. And so now, like, somebody's saying, like, that the person that I'm living above them, and she said, you're heavy as fuck, or you guys are heavy as fuck, like, I will always remember that. When, no matter who's living below me, I will always remember that I'm heavy as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what weight I am, even. Like, even if I lose weight, I am still going to hear that in my head. It's just really unfortunate that whole thing had to happen. And, yeah, it's just too bad. And I wish that the owner would have believed us through the whole situation, because we were telling the truth. We're always telling the truth, honestly. We'll even tell her if we did something wrong, because why wouldn't we? Like, we do things wrong. You know what I mean? Like, we will admit our fault in any situation. I even told her this morning, I was like, Dominic came down here, like, he would come down here and he would talk to her camera, and he was not nice to her camera, because she would walk around her car and all that shit, you know? But, like, I didn't have to own up to that, but obviously it's the truth, so I did. But it also wasn't me that was doing it, but I probably would if it was me too, but I just would never approach something in the way that Dominic would, because Dominic's a protective person, and I'm more of a, like, you're shitting me, right? Like, you're actually joking. Like, why are you acting like this type of person? Where Dominic's like, you are not going to continue to act like this. But anyway, that's the other thing Dominic was telling me the other day. I was doing an order for someone. I meant to tell you guys this story. I was doing an order, and the guy was so mean to me on the phone, and I was so nice to him, and I was telling Dominic, I'm like, I was so friendly with this guy, and he was just so mean to me, and I was almost in tears, and Dominic's like, that's why he was mean to you. And I was like, why? Because I was almost in tears? And he was like, no, because you were nice. People are, like, think they can be mean to nice people, and it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of it. If he felt like you were gonna push back and be mean, then he wouldn't have. And I was like, yeah, I should have I should have picked up his Havana sauce, because he had ordered a Havana pizza from Mellow Mushroom. I was like, I should have picked up his Havana sauce and drank it right in front of his face when he was being rude to me, because, like, I'm delivering your food. Like, what are you thinking, being mean? Like, I would never obviously do that, but it just doesn't make sense to me. How you're going to be mean to somebody who's literally handing you your food that you're going to eat. Like, I could do anything to that food before I deliver it to you. Let's be real. But I don't, obviously. Sometimes I daydream about it when they're mean. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to wrap this order up here. I'm going to wrap this video up here. I think it's the finale of everything that went down with the neighbor. So we'll see if we get a new good one. Oh, one more thing I wanted to tell you. She said she never even meant the name, and she acted like, that's the thing. The owner kind of acted like she really did take no responsibility. I'm not gonna lie. She seemed like, she was like, you know, I was living in Maine, so, like, I met her over Skype, and, like, so I can't tell through Skype. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, that's exactly why you shouldn't have done it that way. But she's like, I met her over Skype and she seemed nice. And I was like, yeah, you probably would have met her. Honestly, she would have met her in person and thought she was nice too, because I heard her turn on the charm for certain people. It was actually crazy. I heard her, like, just flip a switch and be nice to people, and then flip a switch back. I mean, there obviously was something wrong there. But anyway, I'll let you guys go. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Wish us luck for whoever decides to move in next.